How do you not fool yourself? One of the main tools there is just knowing that you can fool yourself, for one, and two, get brutally honest with yourself. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video, I want to talk to you about, or consider with you, how do you know if you're fooling yourself? Okay, this comes from somebody wrote in an email asking a question. They're doing some work. So I'll read the message and then we'll get busy. I'll talk about it, see if we can make some headway. And this is the ending part of the questions that came out of the email. There was some stuff ahead, or prior to, but not so much important. When I read Ending Unnecessary Suffering, that's Peter's latest book on ending unnecessary suffering, I begin to see how the mind invents illusions. How much of what I experience is constructed and how optional suffering becomes when that's clearly seen. But here's what I'm wondering, and I hope you or Peter can help guide me along. The act of reading is still a mental process. The mind interpreting symbols, assigning meaning, shaped by identity, personality, memory, etc. So how can I know whether the clarity I think I'm gaining isn't itself just another construct, another layer of the self interpreting what it wants to hear? It matters deeply to me because I want to know if I've been self-deceived, but then again, I also see that the desire to know for certain might itself be driven by the self. How can I be sure I'm not chasing truth while still sitting inside the illusion? I got bad news for you. Well, we'll get into it first. Okay, this comes from Norhani from Malaysia. From Malaysia, engaging deeply in your work with gratitude and curiosity. And I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for writing in, and thanks for your work. You know, keep considering these things. So, let me go through here. I'll see if I'll do my best. When I read on Ending Unnecessary Suffering, I begin to see how the mind invents illusions. Okay. Right there, how the mind invents illusions. Something you can consider about that, and it's funny because Peter was talking to me about this today, is one thing that I hear right away, something for you to consider. Take a look. When people often, they're starting this work or they're engaged in this work, and then they they make a distinction between them and their mind, right? And it's like me and my mind, and then they start to talk like this. Now again, I do want to leave it wide open. Since you're from Malaysia, there could very well be a language barrier or a confusion between the different languages. So just leave that open for now, okay? They talk about the mind, and the mind invents things, and the mind does this. And one of the things I want you to consider and confront is, who's the one doing your mind? We tend to talk about the mind as if it's something outside of us and outside of what we're doing. Who's the one telling your mind what to do? See, so it's not the mind, it's you doing that. So I want you to consider that right away. It's not like the mind is a thing. You see, and this is one of the things that Peter was talking about, is like people shirk responsibility. They say, "Oh, I'm helpless. It's the mind doing it to me." No, motherfucker, you're doing your mind. It's not your mind doing something to you. You're the one doing it. See, so I would start there. Okay? So check that out. Now, I might get enthusiastic. Maybe I'm totally wrong. You take a look, though. Who's the one doing your mind? I mean, it's certainly not me. See, so right there is one place where people tend to disempower themselves because they go, oh, it's my mind doing it. I can't help it. I call bullshit. Begin to see how the mind invents illusions. No, you invent illusions. How much of what I experience is constructed and how optional suffering becomes when that's clearly seen? Yes, that's great. Yes, it is optional. Once you see clearly what you're doing, good. But here's what I'm wondering, and I hope you or Peter can help guide me along. The mind interpreting symbols. So the act of reading is still a mental process. The mind, ergo, let's go, your mind interpreting symbols. So you are interpreting things. You are assigning meaning. And that meaning is shaped by your identity, sure, and your personality and memory. Like what things mean is dependent on your personal characteristics, of course. So how can I know whether the clarity I think I'm gaining isn't itself just another construct, another layer of the self interpreting what it wants to hear? Now, before I go further, there's a couple different aspects of your question here. The first one, again, I will confront you in the way that I just did. When people say another layer of the self, what are you talking about when you say the self? Is there something that's not you that you call the self? Yeah, there's I think there's a disconnect there. And what I mean by that is, again, people aren't responsible. It's like, it seems to me, people read the books, like they get interested in this kind of work. You might read the books, and then I think at the end of one of Peter's books, he's talking about there's your being, like what you really are, and then there's yourself. And he makes a distinction between being and self, like you and self, right? And so then people talk in these ways, oh, it's just the self. Do you know what a self is? Do you think there's anything in your experience that is outside of self? Usually people do. It's like there's me, and then there's myself, like somewhere. And now let me mess with your thinking on that one. Consider yourself. What the fuck are you talking about? And consider your self-experience is your entire experience. It's the whole thing. Whose experience are you having right now? Somebody else's? No, that's your experience. And can you see that your experience is completely insulated and dependent on you? Your whole, and I mean your whole experience, inside and out, the whole shebang. You see this whole experience you're having? You're the only one having that one. That is self. The whole thing. The self isn't like a part within, and then you are somehow separate from that. That's like saying you are separate from you or something. How does that happen? See, so again, another layer of the self interpreting what it wants to hear. You're talking about the self as if it's not something you're doing. The self, like what? Like you don't have control over that? Like it just happens to you? That's your self happening to you? What, are you two? How does that work? See, so again, I want you to consider that because the language is representative of the distinctions you make. And when you talk like that, it tells me you're separating yourself from you kind of thing. Like, so there's a split. You're not really taking responsibility for your experience. Like, oh, the self, as if it's outside of your control. Now, if that's the case, then you're done. There's nothing you can do because it's like, oh, the self is happening to me. No, you're doing it. Consider that. Okay. So now, how can I know whether the clarity I think I'm gaining isn't just another construct? Then you have to get clear. So, regarding that question, here's, and again, I'm not 100% clear on your question, so I'm going to respond to some things that I think you're working with and see if it helps, okay? I should ask you more questions, but this is going to suffice for now. One of the places you can, so one of the main questions I'm hearing here after we got you responsible is, how do I know if I'm fooling myself or not? Like, how do I know if I really am conscious in what I've really got? Now, regarding ending unnecessary suffering, one place you can know, so like backing up, how do you know? One of the best ways to go about this is you need feedback. You need real feedback, grounded feedback that's not just intellectual bullshit, that tells you so then he goes, oh, I actually fucking get it. Here's one place to take a look. Regarding ending unnecessary suffering, one place where you can have feedback is get honest with your experience and notice, for example, do you experience the same emotional pain that you normally do given certain circumstances? If you do, then you don't got it yet because you're still in pain. You see how that's sort of non-intellectual? It's like, oh, when I encounter this circumstance, I still get hurt. Ow! Or I still get like uncontrollably angry or something like that. Or this happens, I'm really afraid. And then, yeah? So you have to be honest because sometimes people might be afraid and then try to pretend like they're not afraid. So you have to be honest with what you're really experiencing as if automatically given a certain situation, that should help give you feedback. See, or another example might be something like, oh, I'm so enlightened, I'm so free, I'm so blah, 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 blah. And then you go eat dinner with your parents at Thanksgiving, and you're like, motherfucker, you see? No, you're not actually free then. You're just pretending like you're not free. You're pretending like you're free, but the reality is when you encounter those same situations again, you're immediately back into your normal stuff, which is not free. See? That's a way of getting feedback. Or like, there's a story about a famous Aikido teacher, and he was talking about calm, right? And one of the female students in the room, she's like, oh my God, I'm so calm, like all into it. And he went up and slapped her, bang, right? Oh, and then she got really mad. And he was like, where did the calm go? You see? So again, that's feedback. Other places you can get feedback, I don't know, that's the main one regarding the ending suffering. Just look at your experience. Do you get in pain about the same shit? Cool. If you do, then you're missing something. Now, some of the times when I've gotten feedback the other way is when I'll go into a situation that would normally cause me to be a certain way, right? And then it doesn't. It's like normally I do this and I get really mad. I'm just not angry. Huh. That's new. You see, that's some feedback. Oh, I must have dropped something because normally I turn into a real shithead right here, but I'm not. Huh. And it's automatic. It's not something I'm trying to do. It's like as if spontaneously occurring. So that is my experience. Again, I use my experience and my own reactivity like that for feedback. Another place you could get feedback is you could ask people, but they may or may not be subjective and they may or may not care. They may or may not have the ability to actually give you decent feedback, but you could ask people. And then you can also notice, like, is your perspective different? Normally you think of the world a certain way. Now you just are not thinking of it that way anymore. This is different. Okay, perhaps that's some feedback. Or pay attention to the automatic feelings in your body that you generate, that automatic stuff. Notice if there's a change or if your sense of yourself is different, and that can also be some feedback. All right, but then again, I understand the trickiness. You might fool yourself. How do you not fool yourself? One of the main tools there is just knowing that you can fool yourself, for one, and two, get brutally honest with yourself. Is what I really got what I really think I got? You can question that. You can also go, am I clear? What am I conscious of? Am I just blowing smoke or not? You see, and you can actually dig into it and take a look, and that can also help give you some feedback. Again, this brutal self-honesty. Okay? So there you go. Those are some tools, some things you can use. I hope that helps. Last part of your letter. It matters deeply to me because I want to know if I've been self-deceived, but then again, I also see the desire to know for certain might itself be driven by the self. How can I be sure I'm not chasing the truth while still sitting inside the illusion? Well, I guess you're just going to have to find out what the fuck's going on. How do you do that? Well, again, brutal honesty. What is really going on here? Now, how can I be sure I'm not chasing the truth while still sitting inside the illusion? One place you can look, as often stated, is what we call the problem of identification. When you say I or me, what are you talking about? When you say am I in the illusion? Do you know who you are and what you are? If not, then whatever you say when you say I may not really be you. You don't know. I would invite you to clarify that, which is to say, become directly conscious of who and what you are. That will clear up a lot. And what I mean by directly conscious is at a base level, just to get you going here. For example, most people, they have, track this in your experience, right? You think about you. You can have thoughts about you. The thoughts about you aren't you. You can also have a feeling of you and a perception of you, like you perceiving you, okay? So you can think about you can perceive you, and then there's you, all right? Now, you, getting you directly is not done like a thought about you or a feeling about you or even a sense or perception about you. It's you. It's discovering you directly. So there's no distance between you and you. You grasp it. Me. Yeah? So then, who are you really? I would invite you to grasp that directly, and that should clear up some of this challenge here. How can I be sure I'm not chasing the truth while still sitting inside the illusion? You have to know what's what. And also, you can also grasp the nature of the illusion. You have to find out what's actually real here. Are you real? What's really you? Who are you really for real? And then get what you are, and some others too. It's like this is the direct consciousness. Now that there's no answer for. I cannot give you an answer that will satisfy that. You have to become directly conscious yourself. I would invite you to do that if you can. Obviously, come do a contemplation intensive. That's where we do that. Otherwise, if that's out of your price range, join us on School. We are doing contemplation sessions there. There's also some free materials on School that can get you involved. There's also a weekly facilitated call that I do, that I usually do. Sometimes we have other guest speakers on. And so that's free. And then I have a monthly call that you can work with me or work with me one-on-one. We can work on stuff like this. Just check the links. You know what to do. If you need the assistance, check the links. Go find the shit. You know what to do. Sign up. Tell me. Email me. Whatever. Okay? And then within your last paragraph, so I want to address a few other things that might be in your way that may not be readily available. You want to know if you've been self-deceived, and you want to see how the desire to know for certain itself might be driven by the self. Grasp what a self is, what you're driven to do, you see. And another thing I hear in your paragraph is that it's somehow wrong to be a self. That is somehow, for example, when Peter talks about self-survival, right? Or that we manipulate all the time, because that's all what we're doing is handling stuff. We call that manipulation, right? Notice that if we say, hey, you're surviving, you're a self surviving, that's what you're doing, right? And that's what you have going on, that you think that's negative is also self-driven. All positive and all negative is driven by self, good and bad, use and value. Think about it. Because it's good and bad to who? It's useful and valuable to whom? I guess it's supposed to be whom. Whom? Whomus. No. Whom? It's useful and valuable to who? You! You like or don't like it. Who likes and doesn't like? And what is liking and not liking? Who's that for? Good and bad. Good and bad. Who's that for? What's the purpose of good and bad, you see? Meaning, the whole world of meaning, what everything means. To whom does it mean stuff? You. The whole time, you. I got news for you. That's the self. Hello. See, so how can I be sure if I'm not chasing the truth while still sitting inside the illusion? What do you think all this is? Of course you're in the illusion. But don't take my word for it. Maybe I'm just blowing shit. I'm just talking shit. I'm just talking shit. Now, is there something wrong with being in an illusion? That's more of the illusion. Right and wrong. We think right and wrong exists. That sounds like an illusion. We make it up. What do you think? You're the only creature on the planet with right and wrong? Well, you're the only creature like you with right and wrong like that. You think lions have morality? Good and bad the way we do? Yeah, they have good and bad, but it's not what we got. Maybe the same impulse, you see, but they're also surviving. And they're perceiving things. Perception itself. For example, okay, now we're going a little bit deep here, but just consider, just because we're dicking around, I'm just sticking around with you. If you see writing, that's not what's actually there. You make up what's there. And you also make up what it means. You don't actually see meaningless black marks. If you show writing to an infant, they don't have language. They don't see that. They literally don't see the same thing. So even your sight is not what you see. It's what you make up is what's there. That could be called an illusion. And then if it is an illusion, what's wrong with it? You might make up that is wrong, that it's an illusory kind of thing. That is also illusory. So yeah, you're kind of fucked. I got great news. So now, what do you do with what I said? Just right now, just use it to hit your mind. Like, you might have a problem with what I say. You might agree and believe with what I say, neither of which help, okay? The what to do with what I say is just consider, is what I said even true? And or, how is that true if it is? For real. You have to consider it. Otherwise, it's just blah, 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 blah bullshit. Yeah? Okay? So, that's what you do with what I've said. That's my invitation. Don't believe, disbelieve, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay? Just messing around. Now, last thing. Regarding the communications, like when you're reading the books, right? Consider that language itself is merely a tool. It's an incredibly powerful tool. It is conceptual in nature. Without concept, you can't do it. And it is powerful. It's way more powerful than what you think. If you want to dive into like the genesis of language and stuff, come do the Transcending Self workshop. That's one place where we dive way into that. But regarding the language part, remember the language is representing something. Some experience. The language is representative of something. Okay? Whenever there is language, like in a book, the language is never the thing that is pointing at. The map is never the same as the territory. So as you're reading, because I know you're like, am I fooling myself? Am I confusing myself? Remember, the language in the book should point to something in your experience, something you can grasp in your experience that isn't the words, it isn't the writing, and it isn't even the meaning that you make up about the writing and your reaction to the meaning. It's none of those things. It's the thing itself. Okay? So keep striving to grasp the thing itself, not the sounds, not the meaning, not your personal reaction and perspective about it, but it. Tracking? Like, can you ride a bicycle? When you tell somebody about riding a bicycle, you're very clear that what you say is very different than the experience of riding a bike. It is the same with the book Ending Unnecessary Suffering. The experience that he's talking about or he's pointing to is very different than the book. So go experience it for real. When you do, you will tend to, as far as I can tell, at least this has been true for me, you'll go, oh, that's why he said that. Oh, That makes sense because you're looking at it. You're like, you're in it. You got it. You're with it. You're like, okay, like if you go in the kitchen and then you report back to me, you say, hey, in this kitchen there's a stack of white things and they're flat plates, right? And there's forks and knives and spoons and there's some glasses over there and a coffee maker and a cooktop and all this stuff because you're there. Then you write the book about it, and then if I don't got it, I go in the kitchen too, and I go, oh my God, you're just like what the book says. Do you see the difference? Okay? So when you're working, remember the language and the meaning and your reaction is never the point. Never. It's for you to grasp something real. Or find out if the book is full of shit. Okay? Find out if it's a lie. So that means that you have to grasp what's really there for yourself, for real, and then you go, oh yeah, no shit, he just said that. See? So keep working. This is what we call experiential, like move into the experience of it, not just the thought about it, and that should really, really help. So as you're listening, as you're reading, and great, thank you, good work, keep working. You have to, you take what you read and then compare it to your experience. You go from what you read and think about to your actual experience of life and see what you can find out and see what you can discover. You use the reading like a pointer. But again, get what it's pointing at. Yeah? I hope that helps. Okay? So cool. Norhani, again, let me know if I fucked up your name. I'm sorry if I did. Thank you for joining from Malaysia. It's great. I'm glad this work has served you. And also, thank you for listening to my podcast and other stuff. I appreciate it. I will let John know that you said so. And thank you very much. Okay? Everybody else, you want to get serious, you want to get involved. Again, if you want the benefits of this work, of which there are many, and like shitloads of benefits, very positive, powerful, freeing, happy, all kinds of shit, effective benefits, you have to work on it. And there are the places to work on it. We have an online community, one-on-one coaching, workshops. If you're serious, again, just check the links. You have to go get involved. All right, so you're definitely invited to get involved. If you don't want to get involved, that's cool too. I don't give a shit. It's up to you. I mean, of course I want you to, but I'm biased. You know, fucking got to run a business too. So, and eat is good. I want to eat. Okay, so much love. Take care. Thanks. See you next time.